The following audio was recovered from a hard drive found in a burned-out storage locker near Seattle, Washington. The owner could not be found.
Fish stories. They're like a national pastime in some parts of the country. This one isn't really mine. It's a friend of a friend to protect the innocent and all that. You get it. Call her a cousin. So, my cousin used to go to this lake in Southern California a lot. The Mojave Desert is not really a place that most people would associate with fish or large bodies of water, but that's kind of the magic of the place. It's not a real lake, but this artificial reservoir with all the fish trucked in periodically from somewhere else to give desert fishermen a reason to abandon their sensible air-conditioned homes over the weekend and develop melanoma. At least an hour drive from anywhere, the area offers a small picnic area, reeds taller than the handful of trees clinging to the ground, also imported, and a tiny shack that sells beef jerky and day passes for boats powered by lawnmower engines. And, lurking below these sun-baked waters, there is also this infamous catfish that will apparently do absolutely anything just to be left alone. Of course the beast has a name, they all do, and while it's usually just the lake with a Y stuck on the end, the community such as it is refers to this specimen as the sucker. And surprisingly, despite this fishing hole being restocked fairly often, tales of the sucker have been around since around the 70s or 80s. Maybe that's just the nature of fish stories, but I also did a little bit of research on this, and while it is certainly possible for a channel catfish to live that long, Wikipedia considers it unusual. Also unusual, I read that their body is apparently one giant tongue. I can't imagine what a dusty puddle in the middle of the Mojave must taste like. Now what brings the sucker into the halls of urban legend, however, are stories of punctured boat hulls, spontaneous weather effects, and once, during the summer of the bicentennial, a wish granted in Spanish to a vengeful widow. Either the widow died or someone else did, or both. My sources were less than clear, and I don't really speak Spanish myself. So as my cousin tells it, she was broke and living with her brother's family when this happened. But the brother had also very recently had a kid, so this lake had become something of an oasis, pun intended, from the noisy upheaval of a first newborn child. She liked to just lay out on one of those crappy rental boats and drift into the center of the lake. The line in the water was mostly there for appearance's sake, while she absorbed the still, quiet air so very far from anything that actually mattered. More facts about the channel catfish. In addition to their absurd tongue body, they also have acute senses of smell and hearing, possibly better than your standard dog. It's kind of amazing that we end up catching them at all, but I suppose that has more to do with what the fish are paying attention to. If the sucker is as old as the legend tells, then this particular fish must be paying attention to everything. Catfish, however, are also very delicious when pan-fried, so when my cousin's line started to bob, she wasn't entirely disappointed to be pulled out of her still reverie. She lunged to grab her pole and start to reel in, but it became quickly apparent that her line had not just tangled on some reeds or a discarded tire, as the rod pulled hard to the left and propelled the boat like a chariot or dog sled or something. My cousin tells me that she was barely able to keep the pull grip in her hands, and she had to wedge the end under a seaplank just to hold on. As the lake debris snapped under the boat's prow, she honestly didn't know how she still had the creature on her line. Finally, she notices that they had gotten right up onto the bank, and she's able to partially beach the boat and use the stable leverage of rock to haul in this massive, angrily thrashing fish. And after what seemed like an eternity, it is just laying there on the boat bottom, gasping and glaring up at her with these black pooling eyes, contemplating. Then, as she leans down, about to slit the creature's throat, the fish spits out an eerily familiar blue pacifier. As this was the absolute last thing that she expected to come out of the fish's mouth, she jumps back, her knife hand jerking away and the small boat rocking wildly enough to allow the satisfied fish to flop out and away into the murky waters once more. Shaken and now completely drained, my cousin turns in the boat, amazed that it wasn't damaged during the fight, and heads immediately home only to find an ambulance in the driveway with siren wailing and a cop car parked in front of the mailbox. It seems that shortly before she returned, her brother's kid had died. The boy's lungs had filled with liquid and he somehow drowned in his crib. She finds a pair of police officers sitting on the couch reviewing the nanny cam footage with her brother as she walked in. Afterwards, she never went back to the lake. It's a weird story, and it certainly fits that magic fairy tale fish archetype in a messed up, morbid sort of way. But hey, cranky old mud-eating omnipotent fish in a fake desert lake that just wants to be left alone. That's America for you.
don't forget to join the Fear 20 Discord. We've got memes, streams, and most importantly, screams.